Hello, hello.
People just now. We're talking about a problem that involves capital
Sorry.
D. I'm totally agreeing with.
Hello, sorry, hello. Wait, I don't know if you can hear me yet. Sorry.
We can hear you.
Oh, you can. Thank you. Great. All right. Almost embarrassing because I thought I was thinking out loud. Okay, great. And I'm coming. Hold on. Whoa. Okay, wait, I'm coming. Okay, coming. Oh, sorry, coming. I know you can't see me yet. I'm trying to, and I know it's white, not black, which is bizarro. Hold on, trying. Is that okay? That looks sort of like me. Wait, okay. So hello. Wait, I'm looking at you. Oh, because it's this. Yes. Can I just say? Well, I guess I can, because who's going to stop me? But since you can hear me, I think, and since we are about to start, can I just say, so I'm like such an anxious guy in general that even when I'm loading up and we're about to go and I feel like we're about to go, I see that chat and I see that there's already 3 things in the chat. And like, mute, I mean, not mute. I see 3 things. I see the number 3, the badge icon in the chat, and immediately my heart leaps like, oh my God, they already have, oh my God, I've already done something wrong. Like, oh my God, what's in the chat? Like already someone's totally confused and like wants to burn down John Jay or something. Like this is my personality. This is what a mess I am. So I see the 3 number in the chat and I'm like, hey. Then I thought, wait a minute, this is this class. I bet what's in the chat is something like good morning or yes, we can hear you. I bet that's true. Like I actually had to think that. And then I checked and sure enough, you guys said good morning. It's really nice. You know, it's amazing how far a little human sanity can go when you're dealing with an insane person. Okay, so hi, good to see you. I know I'm trying white instead of black today. God knows, maybe I'll ask your opinions later, but maybe it'll be easier to read today because I know that's been an issue. Oh, wait, no, excuse me. Sorry, okay, that's right. No, nobody's burning down John Jay, I promise. I don't even know. Look, honestly, if they did, would we know the difference right now? No one's burning down John Jay. That was a bad.
And I just heard you say, who's burning down John Jay? I was like, what? Wait, what? It's early in the morning. What happened? What is this overnight?
No, I'm so sorry. No. And I am laughing. I appreciate it. Oh, good. Oh, by the way, Sarah, thank you. Okay, good to know. Okay, very new. I don't know why I didn't think of that long ago, so thank you, Sarah, about the way. But thank you, Cynthia. That's hilarious. I mean, we shouldn't be, I'm not trying to make jokes about anybody burning down or anything, but it is nice to start with random weird interaction like that. Yes, I was totally joking. It was an inappropriate joke. Nothing is burning down. Of course, we have to get to business because like we have an exam and stuff like that. So I'm trying to get us organized. So I'll get to business in a second. But you guys are living in a very weird time. I don't have to tell you. I mean, I've been teaching physics for a long time, and I also studied philosophy and taught philosophy. So I've had a lot of classes like years and years ago where we would have whole classes sitting around debating about like, well, are we really sure that when we wake up in the morning tomorrow morning, like the world will be the same as today? Like we assume that it will. We assume that it will. That if the sun rose in the east yesterday and the sun rose in the east the day before and the sun rose in the east the day before, like we all have induced that the sun will rise in the east tomorrow. It's like really fundamental to science that we think these patterns will continue past the future. But like, how do we ever really know that they really, really will? Well, we used to discuss this philosophically and abstractly in physics classes and philosophy classes like years ago. Like, do you really know and I'd say things like, do you really know that when you wake up tomorrow morning, there will be a school and there will be a building or like blah, blah. And it used to be all fun to discuss that stuff until like weird things actually started happening in people's lives. Like I was having that discussion the day before in New York City we literally were asking, how do you know when you wake up tomorrow morning, the buildings will be there? And I was like, yeah, yeah. And then the next morning, it was September 11th, and 2 buildings were gone. It was craziness. And like some people in my class actually thought I must have had something to do with it, which is also a bad joke, but true. Like it was so weird that we used to talk about, how do you know? How do you know? And then one day, like the world fell apart in one kind of way. And then to you guys last spring, like we could philosophically be like, how do you know life is going to be normal tomorrow? Do you really know? And all of a sudden life was totally not normal tomorrow to all of you, to all of us. So I don't try to have, I shouldn't make jokes like that anymore, really, at all. But I'm glad that Cynthia tuned in right at that moment. All right, wait, so, all right, we're gonna try this in white instead of black today, but we are gonna be a little different today too. While you're gonna do some work today, all of you, to compensate for how behind I am. No, just kidding. We're gonna work on this practice exam together today. We're gonna start working on it. So you're going to see how much, if as long as how manageable this will all be, and how like not stressful. Hopefully, this will be as long as we try. And by this, I mean like the actual exam and grades and stuff. Like we're going to try to start nailing down this exam today, so that by the time the actual thing happens next week, it's like no major surprise or weirdness to anybody. And the exact logistics of the actual exam that technically is scheduled for a week from today. Again, so we have a midterm scheduled for a week from today. I just put a bunch of documents in everybody's stream this morning. I said I would have them over the weekend, and I'm sorry I didn't, but they're in everybody's stream this morning. Both the actual, wait, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we have an actual exam a week from today. Like I'm trying to just be real about it, but I don't want to make it a crazy stressful deal. To be honest, because of Zoom and virus and stuff, probably when I'm saying that this exam is next Monday, 99% likely it's going to be a take-home experience anyway. And I'll have to give you more details about that as we get a little closer. Like if it's take-home, then when I say it's next Monday, what I really mean is I'll distribute it, post it Monday, and then you'll have time to do it and give it back to me. Time that's probably more than 24 hours, something like that. Okay, so it actually will not be, almost definitely, I keep saying almost definitely just because I have to make sure with Professor Walters and stuff like that, but this is the way we've been doing it. And we've done things like this even when there wasn't a virus. Almost 100%, you're not going to just sit there in real time with cameras and all that stuff. It's going to be more like an essay or something, like a history exam or not exam, paper or something, where you're going to take this home and do it and then turn it in. Okay, just so you know. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's a good question. Justin's question's a totally fair one. And the answer will be yes. Like one thing about this is, but one thing about doing take home is the one advantage it gives to me is that I don't have to lose whatever we're getting out of this being together Zoom experience. Like I don't want to give them up needlessly. But whatever we're doing in Monday will be to help with the exam. Like if I post it we'll continue to review for it or talk about it or do things that I think are helpful to it. And then when you're all released or whatever, and the other class has been released, the other section, then we'll release it. So yeah, you're not going to actually, we will still have class time, and hopefully class time that is helpful to the exam, but you all will do it on your own time. And again, I'll be more detailed about that as we get there, but it will surprise maybe some of you to know that I am saying what you think I'm saying. Like, it's going to be open universe when you do this thing. At least this I can definitely promise you. Anytime in physics we say something is take home, we really mean take home. We mean open universe. We mean open internet, open notes, open textbooks, open colleagues. And I'll explain, that will surprise some of you, and some of you might think that's weird. Some of you might think you might not be understanding what I'm saying because it is a little unusual. And some of you might be secretly like way psyched and suddenly think, oh, great, I don't have to study. And we're not really saying that. But yeah, as we get closer, you're going to see that we think physics is hard enough. I mean, and the questions are hard enough. We don't believe it. Well, I don't want to get into all into this right now, but your goal for today and for Wednesday and in general in physics, the goal is to understand how to do physics, which is actually hard enough, as some of you are starting to see as you try to follow these problems. The goal is to learn how to do physics, which means solve problems that you've never seen before, but that you can find something in your mind that you've seen something like. Like that's what physicists do. And that's what science research is, right? Like it really, really what we're here to teach ourselves is how to figure out things that we don't already know how to figure out. And in fact, ideally figure out things that people have not figured out yet. Like that's what science research really is. In that sense, it's more exciting than anything and more scary than anything, because really we're trying to figure out how to do what we don't know how to do. Right. And I even put a sheet about that in your stream, you might have noticed. But therefore you'll all see, like even when there's no virus, and even when we do take these exams, like in a classroom at John Jay or whatever, you'll see in the exam that we hand out, the very first page of the exam is a full sheet of equations. And now you've seen this before in math and science, but we'll totally give you the equations, and we'll give them to you in the same form that I'm giving you to on the first page of the practice exam. And the practice exam is meant to reduce surprises and show everybody what the exam basically would look like. Like we'll change numbers and we will make some changes so you have to think and really get the problems, but we're not here to trick you. We're not here to have you memorize a bunch of stuff or like try to amass a bunch of knowledge in your mind and then us try to trick you into not knowing which piece of knowledge we're going to ask you about. It's not about that. It's about, can you actually do these problems? Like in English, it's like, can you actually write an essay? And even if everybody tells you the topic in advance and all that, then you still go research the topic and you read the book or whatever, and you come back and you write about it. And even if you had all day and all help with your parents and all this, still at the end of the day, you have to like complete a written product that's coherent and like reasonable and true and interesting and informed. That's what we're doing in physics. So like we want to learn how to do these problems, and by practicing them, like as though they're music or something. So to stop talking, oh, sorry. Yes, Alyssa, please. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
So to clarify, basically like for the test, it's kind of like our lab groups, so we could collaborate with each other like that.
Okay, great question. Super fair question. Super great. Sorry, my phone went. Super fair question. Super great question. And the real answer is yes. Yes, even more than you. Yes. Like it's you are, when you get this, and again, I know this is boring to over talk this, like we should all get to physics stuff, but yes, if it helps, part of the reason we're going to talk about all this, and part of the reason you're all having a practice exam, always like why we give a practice exam, is so that everybody can just be as focused on physics as possible and as unstressed about nervousness and anxiety as possible. Like, and I'm saying that as a very anxious guy, like tests make me nervous, like they make some of you nervous, they do. So my goal here, but I love physics and and I've worked hard at it, and I want you guys to also. So yes, we are literally saying that when you get the actual exam, I hope everybody's hearing this, and I should like check if you're all raising or whatever, but when we post the actual exam next Monday, and assuming that I am keeping it as a take-home thing, and I would tell you otherwise, but yeah, so then once you get this thing, you're totally allowed to, and in fact encouraged to call up your lab partners or Zoom your lab partners or whatever, or your non-partners, like other people in the class or other people. Yes, you can work on things together, absolutely. Way more than you would believe that I'm actually saying. We expect you to. We think that if you don't, you'll be at a disadvantage. Like you should help each other. And the only caveat of that, and I'm saying this to everybody, and I would have said it whether Alyssa asked or not, but it's like totally the right question. And it helps me know that you're actually hearing me. What we're saying to everybody is the one caveat is at the end, each person's putting their own name on a document, and each person's handing in a document with full solutions, thoughtful solutions to all this problem, i.e. you're all showing all your work. Now you can get a lot of help with your work from other people. You can learn how to do the work, even at the 11th hour, even if you feel like you've been trying and you haven't understood me, or you haven't been trying and secretly in your mind, you've just been checked out. It's still not illegal in the last couple of days, like once you've gotten the test, to turn to your friend and try to like get help with this stuff. But because we want you to learn it, like whenever you learn it, and that's what tests do, is they force people to learn stuff. So even in the last minute, you can turn to your lab partners and work this stuff out together on one piece of paper if you want. But then each of you has to go to your corner and then write out your own version of that, whatever you've learned from each other, whatever you think you've cheated off each other in each other's brains, because people always think this is cheating, but it's not. If then you then write down what you solve all these problems in your handwriting on the document and like show all steps, and sign your name to it, then what happens at that moment, and I know this from a long time of experience, honestly, to everybody, like our tests are so super like cheat up a storm test if you want to think about it one way, but what we're really doing is saying all cheating is fully allowed to everybody. Therefore, and it's built in. We expect you all to do everything that you would think of as cheating, that some people might think of as cheating. Like you can talk to your friends, you can go on the internet, you can go to Khan Academy, blah, blah. Except that we're telling you all that you're all allowed to do that. Therefore, you can all expect that you're all going to do that. So nobody can secretly do it more than that. Like, it's not like everybody's going to agree not to it. And then somebody is going to like get a secret advantage by breaking the rules. We're saying anything goes. So do whatever you want to do. But then at the end, you're going to fill out a document with your work in it. And those people who actually understand what's going on by that point, like the people who have really listened to their friends explain it, or the people who have actually been forced to explain it to their friends and break it down step by step, those people who really get it by the end are going to kind of, or at least get one particular problem, let's say, like you might be really good at acceleration. Then what you're going to do in the test is you're going to make it so clear to me that you personally totally get it. Because you're going to add steps that you're going to add every step and you're going to justify everything and you're going to know where you were originally confused, but now you're not. So you'll put in a little picture or something like that. Like, and I'm not saying you're going to have to try extra hard. I'm saying you all know in your hearts that those of you who get this stuff will be able to write it in a way that really shows that you get it. Just like people who really read the book in an English class really can write, and who have been reading books their whole lives obviously write better papers than other people who just read the Cliff Notes and who got someone to explain it to them. Right, which is still fine to do. But each one of you is going to go, and I'm telling you this not only to address Alyssa's question, and I know I'm talking too much, but I mean this so sincerely. Like each one of you, by the time you get to filling out this test, this document, this exam, is forget about like one person didn't cheat and another person did cheat, or one person's smart. It's not even about that. Like in your own individual brain, of course, there's going to be parts of this test that you're more comfortable with than others, whoever you are. There's going to be parts that you took me seriously and just studied and redid the practice exam a million times. And then you ran out of time, let's say, and you never got to some other stuff. Like, of course, all this stuff happens to people. So then what you're going to do, whoever you are, who really feels like they're shaky on some stuff, but feels that they get some other, where you get to the part of the test, the stuff that you know, and again, you'll know that it's coming because you already had the practices. You go to town on that stuff, like whatever stuff you really get, you really explain, you draw diagrams, you show, or you maybe even show like, you don't use average velocity here because you can't, like you show you strut your stuff wherever you get it. And when your grip is tenuous, of course, then you'd be a little bit more conservative, like don't over, or be more over careful or whatever. But what I'm ultimately saying to everybody is we all know really in our hearts, it's clear from reading and writing when we understand and when we don't. And I don't care where you get understanding from. None of you. You can't get it all from me. I'm not that good like at explaining it. You get it wherever you want. And ideally, you get it from one another. That's the big shame in this whole Zoom thing. The real shame is that there's not as much collaboration as there could be. Although Alyssa's question already makes it clear to me that maybe some good collaboration is happening in lab, and that's great. So yes, I did not learn physics by myself. No way. And I can't teach it by myself. It's totally a thing that you work out with other people. And you all should. And you should, even from the moment I post it, and I'll shut up now. I'm sorry, I'm talking way too much. But yeah, we're saying from the moment we post the real document, even then it already won't be a surprise because you'll already have worked through this practice document. But even then, work with each other, do whatever you want, but then just produce a really fine, comprehensive, clear document of your own, and we will know how to read the difference. And remember, we all know like that you can all use the internet. So the other flip to all this is like, say you're using the internet to get like what you try to take our practice test, all of you. And when I keep saying I'm going to shut up, what I really mean is I am like, we're going to start working on this practice test as individuals in this time, in a moment or two. And I'll be here to answer questions as you, maybe people are already doing this and that's fine. But like, yeah, we want to break down the surprises and everything right now. But I'm saying, the ideal is to try to solve the problems on your own, right? And then when you get stuck, first try to work it through, but then if you can't, you go to the solutions, which we said we were going to hold, but since I took a while to put out the original itself, I've put out the solutions as well. So when you're stuck, you look at the solutions. It may be possible you still don't understand, right? I mean, you may have to then go on the web or something then. So what I'm saying now is if you understand that it is legal to go on the web, even at the last minute, even when you're working on the actual test, if you understand that I'm saying it is legal, then be smart when you go on the web. Know that everybody else is doing it too. So don't just take like the first hit that you get that explains something. Like, realize it's not a secret advantage to be on the web. The real advantage would be able to use the web wisely in the amount of time that you have, or use your own thoughts wisely, and know that we know that, like, if you just quote things if you just write things down that you got from the web, we're not saying you have to cite them. It's not about that. But a lot of people will write things down that they got from the web that they just got way too fast and just do not help. Like, they would only think that was true if they just read our question and hadn't been in the class for like, blah, blah, blah. So so it's not going to be about resources. It's going to be about like using resources wisely. And the more everybody understands what's going on before they even get there, the less they would even have to use the resources. So there are going to be other questions like Alyssa's there, and they're all going to be legitimate, and I want to answer them. But I'm also afraid that I'm talking so much that what I want to say is, like, let's pause for a second. Like, some more questions will be generated, but also some questions will be answered if we actually all formally like look at this practice exam. So what I'm asking everybody right now is, and I'll ask for acknowledgement in a minute, but I'm going to say, please take, like I said, I put like 4 crazy things in your stream right before class. I think it was like 4. And none of them did I expect you to do anything with right away, but now they're for this exam. So in your stream, you should, I think it's the stream, you should find a blank copy of this practice midterm. You should find a solved copy or draft solutions of the practice midterm. You should also believe in your heart that the actual midterm will be like 85% identical to the practice. Like, it really is similar, just different enough to make sure that you don't blindly memorize things. So you should find those. You should find a couple of other, you should find an equation document, a Galileo's principle document, and like a helpful advice document. Right now, what I want everybody to open is the blank, the unsolved practice midterm. Like, I want everybody to have it in front of them now. And I'm going to literally say, let's just start working on the warm-ups right now, just so we can get like this practice is very long. Also, I'm sorry. One thing that might be intimidating about this practice test is it's super long. If you're because it covers like everything and as deeply as possibly as what we've done so far as we could. It's like as hard as it could be, such that if you really could rock this thing, you'd be set for the actual. And let me say that one last time, because again, this thing is meant to help. It's not meant to intimidate, but it's 8 pages long. It's a lot of big problems. There's no way I would expect any of us, including me, to actually do that test in an hour and 15 minutes. Like, no way. Okay, just to be clear to everybody, maybe 2 hours I could expect me to do it, but I wouldn't it's too long for an actual test. So what I also want to make clear is your actual test will be taken from there. It will be 85% identical to some section of that, but either what's often happened in the past is like you'll see there's different parts of this exam. We'll either give choices, like you do either this problem or that problem, or we'll cut out problems. There's no way your thing will be as long as this, but this is everything that could be on yours. Just, okay, to make that clear again. So let's start with, and in theory, by the way, we've now in the class actually done every bit of material that you would need. You in theory could solve this whole exam and get 100 on it if you had nothing else in your life and you took the time, like, just so you know, it's like, in that sense, fair, but it's a lot. So I really will shut up. Right now, as long as I can get, like, if I can get a show, what I'm saying is I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to make breakout rooms or anything. I'm just going to say we're all going to work on page 1 of that exam right now, like the practices, the part 1, whatever it's called. It's like 3 sort of warm-up problems. I want everybody to work on them now quietly. You can talk amongst yourselves, but I won't stop you for a little while until we get some right answers, and you can look at the solutions, but it might be a waste to do that right now. So can I just get a show of like electronic acknowledgement that now we're going to, okay, so I think I'm caught up with the chat. Could I get a show of like electronic hands that, thank you, great, okay, great, that's great, thank you. And that means you all did check the stream, like it's in the stream, right? Like I'm not crazy, or I'll assume I'm not crazy. So I'll even post in a second on this board, I'll share the screen of the thing that I think we're all looking at now, and we're all going to quietly do that. And by the way, if you think you do get answers or anything to these problems that we're gonna, I guess for now I'll even say put in the private chat, so we don't even, so it's not even a race. You know, if you finish something, just keep going as fast, as much as you want through this exam. But I'm gonna sort of stop when I think people have had a reasonable chance at the first page. So if you think you've made progress, or you want to check something, I'll even say for now, sure, do it in the private chat so everybody can really think and not be stressed by other people. All right, if that's clear. So I'm going to shut up. I'm going to put it on the screen. Oh, wait. All right. So yes, in case anybody joins now, what's on the screen is what we're doing right now quietly. And again, if you have any thoughts, questions, answered, or I guess for the moment, I'll actually say, please put them in the private chat. Oh, oh, sorry, not what I meant to do. Sorry. Ooh. Oh wait, a big correct. Oh, sorry. Excuse me, Chris. Sorry. There is a. Hey. Okay, I think I'm going to ask this now because this is either going, it's so quiet, it's either going super perfectly for all of us, and like this is like more, it's like forced studying time, which is more productive than anything. It's either that or I've lost everybody and everybody's off like having a beer. It's always impossible to tell. So just one thing I want to say is if you are done with problem 1 and 2, like you got an answer for 1 and 2 and you feel okay about them, like you got it right, you checked, you're right, and you're moving on. If you feel comfortable that you are fine with problems 1 and 2, again, not perfectly fine, not like you would take the exam right, but basically fine with problems 1 and 2. If you feel that you are, just put like the word yes or fine or something in the private chat. In the private chat, if you're fine with problems 1 and 2, and I'm not going to then punish you for it, but like if you're up to 3 and you're moving on, if you're fine with problems 1 and 2, please in the private chat, just write the word like yes, or I'm fine, or maybe even write what you're up to or something, okay? If you're still in 1 and 2, it's totally fine. And if people don't write anything, I'm going to believe that. Yeah, cool, thank you. Okay, so, but all of you, please, or let me just say this, all of you, in the private chat, tell me whether or not you're fine with 1 and 2. Just honestly, in the private chat, just either say like, I'm fine with 1 and 2, like I'm on to 3 now, whatever, or I'm stuck. If you're stuck or struggling or something with 1 and 2, let me know. You can be, the more specific you can be, the better, but I need to know where people are. Okay, and so yeah, you can be as specific or not as you want, but let me know if you're either stuck somewhere in the middle of 1 and 2 or not. And I'm looking, and in the private chat, so it'll take me a while to go through this. So I'm going to assume everybody's just going to keep working after they let me know. Just keep working wherever you are. But I'm going to look. I'm a little scared. But in the private chat, tell me if you're fine with 1 and 2 or not. Basically, give me a status update in the private chat, all of you, please. Okay, I'm looking. And
Question,
again, give me
Professor.
time. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, the answer for number 1, did you use the number, like for acceleration, you used the number 10?
Oh, good point. Yes, you mean as opposed? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. That's a really good point. And are you asking like, you mean as opposed to 9.8 or like, yeah, yes, I did use the number 10. And and that's a really fair question, actually. I'll say this to everybody. And questions like that, I do want to hear. When I say put in the private chat, blah, blah, it's like, cause I'm not getting questions right now. No, that's a very fair question for everybody. And when I solved number 1, I totally used 10 meters per second squared. And like, how would you know to do that on a test or whatever? You should understand that anywhere on this exam, in this course, if anybody ever says free fall or like 20-meter high building straight downward, if the assumption is free fall, which it is in this problem, then we should actually be more clear and use the word free fall. But if something is free falling, then you are allowed to assume, we expect you to know that free fall means constant acceleration due to gravity, which means, and this, I'm going to be really technical here. Like, so if you look at the equation, and this is a very legitimate question. You might even think it's obvious what I think Sarah just asked, but it's actually not obvious, especially if you're stressed in an exam context. So if everybody looks at the equation sheet on the first page, that equation sheet that we're giving you here is the same equation sheet that we give you in the actual exam. It sort of tells you what we're like expecting you to be able to work with and know, but don't waste time like literally memorizing. So that last bit says G approximately equals 10. We're actually saying a couple of things with that fact, that Roman numeral 9 fact on the equation sheet. We are saying by lowercase g, we mean free fall constant acceleration. We're saying as long as it's free fall, you can assume that the acceleration is constant. And if there are numbers in the problem, if there are numbers in the problem, you can round that 9.8 number to 10. We're telling you to do it. Please do yes. If somebody left it at 9.8 in the test, we're not going to take off, of course. But we're just saying you're not going to get any more credit for thinking that you're more exact, because actually you're not. So don't give yourself trouble, all of you, on the exam. There's never any benefit in calling G 9.8 when you could call it 10. If it's in a lab and we really have to be precise, or there's money on the line, then we're in the lab and then we'll say that, right? Like, but here on the exam, so yes. And sorry, the last thing, if there's a problem where there aren't numbers, and this can happen, this will happen increasingly more in this course, and we'll happen a ton all the time in Physics 204. If we're asking problems that are so like analytical that we don't even include numbers, we just like have theta and G and blah, then just leave G as G. So Yeah, we are, yes, but it is up to you. It's like you're right, but it is your responsibility to know to you if the problem's involving free fall, we're assuming 10, I mean, we're assuming G, we're assuming it's a constant number, we're assuming we're allowed to call it 10. And then last thing, even though I'm babbling way too much, but I really want these kind of questions are, you know, they're so fair. And I translate every single one of these questions as like a contract to getting an A, right? Like every one of these questions are like, Yaverbaum, what's your promise to me and what's my promise to you so that I can get an A? And I am definitely promising you that you should and could use 10 for G as long as other numbers are involved in the problem. But here's the real strict thing that's going to separate the wheat from the chaff. For if you're still listening to me, anybody, Sarah, anybody, I am not telling you whether you use positive or negative. One of the reasons we're spending this time right now, and I'm like writing these crude notes on the exam to everybody, is I want everybody to actually, if you practice on your own, you get in the habit of realizing that pluses and minuses in physics are super important, but they're super up to you. Like I'm even giving you a hint in that problem 3, telling you how to set up the plus and minus, but honestly, that's like a friendly teacher dad like hint. That is not how physics works. How physics works is you get a question and you have to decide on positives and negatives to make them work out. And you decide when they're not important enough to worry about blah, blah. Like, and that's something we want to get used to. So I'm not telling you that gravity is always negative, and this is to everybody. Sarah's totally right to ask me, like, what can we assume about gravity? You can assume that the number in meters per second squared is like 10. But whether you call it positive or negative, I'm literally calling it positive in problem 1, and I'm going to call it negative in problem 2. Because it suits the nature of those, because frankly, problem 1, everything goes in one direction. And problem 2, something changed, there's more than one direction involved. So I have to distinguish them with pluses and minuses. All right, I said way too much, but that's cool question. Now I'm gonna go back to the private chat. I'm looking again to see who, because if you're done with problems 1 and 2, you should be moving on to problem 3 and then move on to the next page for sure. But once I hear that everybody's done with problem 1, 2, you know, I might want to guide us a little bit more. So and if you're stuck, you want, you know, anybody in the room who's the kind of person who, like, when they get stuck, does not want to be bothered and wants to work it out themselves. You, I applaud, and you keep doing whatever you're doing to unstuck yourself for real. But if anybody's stuck, I need to know. It's okay. I'm looking I'm shutting up. I'm looking at the private chat. again, people, please in the private, like I'm going to fall behind. I'm trying to keep up, but I would like to hear in the private chat from each of you. Either tell me you're fine. You don't have to. I won't bother you. You can just say I'm fine with 1 and 2, or you could say I'm not fine, but I'm working out. Whatever. I will leave you alone, but I would like to know that where everybody is basically. And I'm going to post. Okay, so I'm looking. Yeah, people are okay. Thank you. Okay, great. And if I don't respond right away to whatever you say, it's because, but yes, I'm starting to see things in the private chat. Thank you, people, for saying. And if you are finished, by the way, if you're finished with all the 3, and I'll even say right now, I'll say really quick. I think the answers are 2.11, 120, and -2. But if you are done with 1, 2, 3, just keep going for real. Go to the next one. Like things do get harder in the exam. I don't, so keep going. And we have like 4 minutes left, so I will bring us together. But great. And yeah. I'm looking at. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right. I'm reading. Fair enough. And people are starting to send me details again. Like people are telling me exactly what they did, which is great. And I'm trying to. And then some people are saying like they're good with number 1, but they're lost in problem 2. Fair enough. And that problem 2 is harder, no question. Oh, one hint I can give everybody: if you think you did number 1, whatever equation you use, if you use the 1/2 AT squared equation for number 1, good, correct. And then it's just a matter of being careful with minus signs, really. But that equation that you used for problem 1, if you got it right, I'm talking to everybody, it's the same equation for problem 2. And you don't need any other equations for problem 2, but you should honestly, to do problem 2, if you're trying to figure out, I guess this is a hint I'm about to say, for problem 2, we got a helicopter raising a package, and then like they split, right? Like the package falls out and some time passes and we're trying to figure out how far apart each are. So if you got question 1 right, then I will definitely tell you what you can do is just use that same equation to solve for how far the helicopter goes in 4 seconds, and use the same equation to independently solve for how far the package goes in those same 4 seconds, and then compare your 2 answers, like subtract them or something. Totally fair. It might not seem like an exotic, brilliant or something, but it's totally a fair way to do problem 2. Just pretend it's 2 problem 1s happening at the same time and compare. There, you'll have to be very careful about negative signs. Like the answer to problem 2, I guess I'll say, since we're starting to run out of time, the answer, I'll say, to problem 2 is 120 meters. It is. But if you got it wrong, it probably doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. It probably means you're setting it up right, but you have to be super careful about the values and the negative signs in each of the 2 equations. But you are doing the 1/2 AT squared thing like 2 times and subtracting the answers for number 2. Again, I'm falling behind the chat. Let me just, and I know we're also, okay, hold on a second. Oh yeah, just bear with me. Right. Right. Okay, I think wait, oh God, okay, so we're out of time. I'm sorry. I know we're out of time. I just realized we're out of time. I was about to start going over the second one for people, but since we're out of time, and since I posted the solutions, let me say the answers, like number one, the answer is approximately 2.11 meters per second. You're doing 1.5 AT squared plus V naught T, and you're solving for V naught T. You have everything else, and there's no negative signs. Number two, to keep I'll just say that it's y equals 1/2 AT squared plus V naught T. So for the helicopter, that's 1/2 times 5 times 4 squared plus 20 times 4. Again, we'll do this. I'll pick up on this on Wednesday, and it's in the solutions. But for the package, it's 1/2 times -10 times 4 squared plus 20 times 4. Like the helicopter is accelerating up at 5. The package is accelerating down at 10 because it's free falling. And that's a key. And when you subtract one from the other, you'll get 120. I'm not going to say anymore. We're going to keep going like this on Wednesday. Okay. Again, I'm in a second before the next class comes in. I'm going to put in the Google assignment thing so you can. Anybody who said anything today totally gets the 50 points. Same rule as always. But and obviously, the more you guys can do, please do. I mean, I will go a little faster Wednesday. Now you've seen the document. You have the document. You have the answers. So you're never handing in this practice. Maybe I didn't make that clear either, by the way. You're not doing this practice for points. You're doing this practice for practice. So please, just like the more you can plow through it between now and Wednesday, the more you feel like you know it and know what your questions are, obviously the more of a benefit it can be to all of us. But I know I've kept you, sorry, I'm gonna go, but we'll just keep going with the practice. And thank you. And if I could just get some kind of goodbye or something to acknowledge that you still hear me and that we're leaving and something.
We can hear you.
Great, okay, thank you. All right, so we're gonna go. Good job, guys. We will keep going in 2 days. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Take
Thank
care.
you. You guys are the best. I appreciate it. Okay, we're right. How do we, okay, hello. Okay, I'm good. Zakira and you guys are okay? Okay, I'm shutting down. Okay, Cynthia, you're hilarious, by the way. Okay, I'm shutting down. I don't know if you're still there, Cynthia, but wait, Cynthia, are you there actually? No. Okay, so I'm in.